fucking crazy now?
Let me have it, son of a bitch.
You are a sick person, and I wish to God somebody would cut you up in pieces.
You gotta be kidding. Why are they using these? Because they were all willing participants.
Don't blindly follow selfish people.
What the hell is wrong with you? You are a sick person, and I wish to God somebody would cut you up in pieces, because that's what you deserve.
This is Scott Schweikert.
This man, Scott Schweikert, pleaded guilty to the murder of Jason Galehouse and Michael Wachholz. He did so to avoid the death penalty.
In December 2003, Schweikert, along with infamous criminal Stephen Lorenzo, conspired to murder two men, 26-year-olds Jason Galehouse and Michael Wachholz. Both men lived in Tampa, Florida, and the horrific nature of their crimes is every parent's worst nightmare. On two separate nights, Schweikert and Lorenzo left a Tampa nightclub with their victims. Tragically, neither of the men would ever return home.
Mr. Lorenzo, sitting on the bed, with Mr. Galehouse lying on the bed, tied to the bed, at his ankles and at his hands, did a chokehold on Mr. Galehouse from behind. That chokehold is what killed him.
The victims were drugged, sexually assaulted, and tortured before being killed. But the horror didn't stop there. After their deaths, the killers desecrated their bodies in ways too gruesome to imagine.
After Mr. Galehouse was killed, his body was wrapped and put on a trailer in the driveway of Mr. Lorenzo's home. Mr. Schweikert and Mr. Lorenzo went to breakfast. They went to Home Depot. They then went back to Mr. Lorenzo's house. Mr. Schweikert will tell you that they carried Mr. Galehouse's body into the garage where he was dismembered. Head and torso stayed together. Arm, leg, and leg.
Both Schweikert and Lorenzo were charged with first-degree murder. Schweikert took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, while Lorenzo, already serving time on federal drug charges, awaited his sentence after release. Lorenzo chillingly described himself as a bondage master, claiming the victims had willingly participated in the making of a bondage video with him. When they feared the victims might go to the police,
You gotta be kidding. Why are they using these? Because they were all willing participants.
they made the deadly decision to kill them. This case sent shockwaves through the community, particularly among Jason Galehouse friends.
And I can tell you right now, I am sick of my stomach just to have to look at your disgusting face. Yeah, that's right. Make a face, you creep. You should be dead already, as far as I'm concerned. You put me through holy hell. Not only that, my health, because now I've got stage 4 breast cancer. I'm not saying that you caused all of it, but you caused plenty of it with emotional strain.
They were forced to sit through the agonizing court proceedings, listening to the horrific details of their friend's brutal murder. Jason's mother, after years of anguish, finally had the chance to confront her son's killers, delivering a raw and emotional victim impact statement. She didn't hold back. Jason's mother may have wished Jason's killers to hell, but Isaiah Blue's mother was even more emotional. This is Mitchell Savickas. In January 2016, 19-year-old Savickas fatally shot Michigan teenager Isaiah Blue during a robbery. His 16-year-old brother, Daniel Benavides, was with him during the crime.
Scott said 18-year-old Savickas spotted Blue while riding the Silver Line, and they, along with 16-year-old Daniel Benavides, decided to rob Blue and his two friends.
When you come upon them, does Mitchell or Daniel Benavides say anything to Isaiah Blue and the two people that are with him?
Yes, Mitchell said, y'all already know, and put his gun out.
Scott said Savickas used an assault rifle to fire multiple shots at Blue, who collapsed after running across the street as his friends ran off. Blue would die from his wounds soon after.
Though Benavides was armed with only a toy gun, he was still a participant in the robbery and later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, receiving a prison sentence of 20 to 40 years. Savickas, also 19 at the time, was convicted of felony murder and sentenced to life in prison. He and Blue had known each other from their time in juvenile detention, and Savickas had admitted to harboring a personal grudge against him. In court, Savickas claimed he acted in self-defense, but CCTV footage and police evidence told a different story. During the trial, Isaiah Blue's mother, Clarissa Seaton, delivered an emotional victim impact statement, tearfully confronting her son's killers. She described them as two cowards with a gun who took it upon themselves to play God.
I cannot help but to feel sorry for you. You are too young to be here. You have not only stolen from me, you stolen from those that love you too. You stole from yourself. Don't blindly follow selfish people. Following your brother is why you are here now. He did not think about my son or you. As much as I want to hate you, I can't. You are just a kid. You think you know how it works, but you don't know anything.
Her words were powerful and heart-wrenching, making a deep impact on the courtroom. While Savickas chose to remain silent when given the opportunity to speak, Benavides expressed remorse, apologizing to Blue's family.
I want to apologize to Isaiah Blue's mother, his friends, and the rest of his family. I'm not a good speaker and all, but these words coming from my heart. I'm not expecting forgiveness. I don't want forgiveness. I just hope and pray I get understanding. And my intentions weren't for Isaiah Blue to pass away that night.
Only time will tell if Benavides truly takes Seaton's words to heart. You would hope most killers would be remorseful like Mitchell Savickas. But then we meet Lucchese Kendall. Kendall, born on May 5th, 1986, and now 37 years old, was convicted of second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder. He was found guilty of firing 8 shots at 2 men, killing one and paralyzing the other. According to witness Smathers, there had been no prior threats or confrontations before Kendall opened fire. It was an ordinary day that suddenly turned violent.
While working as an armed security guard at a Miami strip club, Kendall approached 2 men who were sitting inside a truck in the parking lot. Kendall claims one of the men threatened him. He says he also believed one of them had a weapon. So he opened fire, killing one of them with 8 shots, 4 of them in the back. Both men were unarmed.
In a surprising decision, Kendall chose to represent himself in court despite the gravity of the charges. He argued to the jury that the evidence against him was fabricated and racially motivated, claiming he was being targeted because he is white and the victims were African American. Ignoring the judge's advice, Kendall even suggested his arrest was linked to the high-profile George Zimmerman case. When those arguments failed, Kendall shifted to an insanity defense. This provoked a powerful emotional reaction from Keidron Byrd's father, Donald Byrd, who passionately insisted that Kendall was completely sane and deserved to be in prison, not in a mental institution.
You don't need to be laying no mental hospital. He need to go to prison, man. Come on, sir. He want to play crazy. He wasn't crazy when he killed my son, man. He wasn't crazy then, but he crazy now. All of a sudden he crazy now. You want to lay in a mental hospital? You done murdered my son, man, for nothing. When he was trying to get away from you. You were trying to get away from you, man. And you kept shooting him while his back was under the truck. You kept shooting him, man. You kept shooting him in his back. His back was turned to you, man. He was trying to get away from you. And you murdered him, man, like that. You murdered him, man, like that. Why you doing it like that, man? And you want to play crazy, man. He ain't crazy. He ain't crazy, man.
Donald Byrd's tearful plea became a powerful moment in the courtroom as he demanded justice for his son, exposing the immense pain of a father grappling with the loss of his child to senseless violence. Overcome with emotion, Donald Byrd had to be escorted out of the courtroom to give him time to collect himself. The evidence against Kendall was overwhelming. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a mandatory minimum of 25 years for the second-degree murder of Byrd and an additional 30 years, with a 25-year minimum for the attempted second-degree murder of Smathers. Though Donald Byrd had an emotional outburst in court, he remained composed compared to Randall Margraves. While Margraves' children didn't lose their lives, they lost something equally as precious. This is Randall Margraves.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon. Would you do that?
Margrave stands in a Michigan courtroom as the father of 3 daughters who were among the victims of Larry Nassar, the former physician for USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University. Nassar was convicted of offenses against over 250 girls and young women while pretending to provide medical care. He served as a physician for USA Gymnastics during 4 Olympic Games and was also part of the faculty at Michigan State University, where he worked with athletes from various sports teams.
He ignored protocols such as using a glove, asking consent, or having a medical chaperone present.
In 2016, a collaborative investigation by the Indianapolis Star and the USA Today network exposed Nassar's abusive behavior. The investigation showed that USA Gymnastics had been disregarding and covering up allegations of sexual abuse by coaches and staff for many years, including those related to Nassar. During Nassar's trial, 2 of his daughters shared victim impact statements.
My mind immediately thought about the time when I was 13, just a kid, laying on a table at MSU, and you put your ungloved hands all over my rear and slipped your thumb into the most private area of my body. I'm going to be reaching in a comfortable area. Then, without gloves, Nassar accidentally touched me in a place where no man has any business being without permission. He showed me that there is power in a voice. And I will forever be grateful for that. To my parents, thank you for all your love and support through all of this. You have done everything that a parent could ever do.
Randall Margraves, clearly upset, asked for 5 minutes alone with Nassar. The judge turned down his request, leading to laughter from some in the courtroom. Margraves then requested just 1 minute, but when that was also denied, he lost his composure.
Well, I'm gonna have to get something out.
Stay down. Stay down. I understand.
Let me have that son of a bitch.
I understand, but stay down.
I want that.
Stop fighting. Behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
I want that son of a bitch.
Put your hands behind your back. I know.
Give me 1 minute with that bastard.
Margrave's actions could have been seen as contempt of court, but they were understandable, as even the judge suggested. While Margrave's lunge was a notable reaction, it also brings to mind Van Terry. This is Van Terry. Terry is in Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court during the trial of Ohio serial killer Michael Madison. Imagine being a parent who has lost a child to a brutal act of violence. That was Van Terry's experience. His 18-year-old daughter, Sherelle Terry, was strangled by Michael Madison, who also killed 28-year-old Shedisha Sheely and 38-year-old Angela Deskins. As a grieving father, Terry had the chance to speak at the sentencing hearing. While at the podium expressing his sorrow, he caught sight of Madison smirking at him. Fueled by rage, Terry lunged at Madison, narrowly missing him, and stumbled into the crowded gallery. The whole incident was captured on camera. The courtroom erupted in disorder as court officers rushed to shield Madison and subdue Terry. Michael Madison, 38, appeared entirely unfazed by the chaos. Ultimately, he was found guilty on 3 counts of sexually motivated aggravated murder, kidnapping, non-consensual sex, and several additional charges. He was sentenced to death and is currently incarcerated on death row at Chillicothe Correctional Institution. Terry's actions were inappropriate in the courtroom, yet many wished he had landed a punch on the murderer to erase the smirk from his face. If you're among those people, wait until you see what happened when Tonio Hughes confronted his son's killer. This is Tonio Hughes. Hughes appears in a Cincinnati courtroom for the trial of Deshaun Brown. In 2020, Hughes' partner, 29-year-old Nitisha Lattimore, and their 3-year-old son, Nilo, were tragically murdered. While Nitisha's body was discovered near a bridge, Nilo's remains were never found, with investigators believing they were thrown into the Ohio River. The suspect, 20-year-old Deshaun Brown, has been charged with these heinous crimes and was deemed fit for trial by the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. Brown, Nitisha's ex-boyfriend, has a history of assault, and Nitisha had previously filed a no-contact order against him. Brown's defense team has requested that the death penalty be removed from consideration, citing his mental illness, which, under Ohio law, could prevent a death sentence. However, the judge remained unconvinced and ordered an independent evaluation. During the motion hearing, Hughes, overcome with anger, attacked Brown from behind, landing several punches to his head and neck before court officers restrained him.
Base, can we get back up in 560 now? Scott?
What's wrong?
Chill out, move. Take it. Take it. No. Come with me.
This was the moment Hughes unleashed his fury. Hughes was charged with contempt of court and sentenced to 7 days in the Hamilton County Justice Center, though he was released 3 days early. Many would argue he deserved praise rather than punishment. If you think these reactions are intense, stay tuned to see how some of the world's most notorious murderers have responded to victims' families in court. This was the moment Hughes unleashed his fury. Hughes was charged with contempt of court and sentenced to 7 days in the Hamilton County Justice Center, though he was released 3 days early. Many would argue he deserved praise rather than punishment. If you think these reactions are intense, stay tuned to see how some of the world's most notorious murderers have responded to victims' families in court.